you today?
Good, thanks. Good.
Nice. I want to tell you a cool story, which is you are giving me like a full circle moment in my Nouveau life because I started out as a photographer for Nouveau, and my very first show that I ever shot was you guys at the Vogue.
It rings a bell. I remember that venue. Yeah.
So yeah, I have pictures of you on my photography stuff. So it's pretty fun. You guys, and the pictures of you on the Nouveau
Uh,
website.
so you're multi-talented, yeah?
I try to be, but you are too, I see.
Well, bass, four strings. Well, the only multi-talent I have is bass and cowbell. So I'm
Hey,
not sure if
we
that qualifies.
always need more cowbell.
So I hear
Yeah.
Americans
So
definitely have a shortage of it. Yeah.
definitely. So you guys are coming back September 16th, and you guys are going to be playing somewhere completely different. Looks like you're going to be in the Egyptian room at the Old National Center, right?
Egyptian room, yeah.
Yeah,
First,
that's actually a really cool venue.
I can't get enough of those old American theaters. I'm a sucker for them. They're so romantic, and it's a different kind of thing. There's somehow they're less parochial than they are in the UK. They've just got all this history, and I love it.
Yeah, there's a big marquee out front, so you make sure you get your picture under it.
For sure, definitely. I'll probably be toasting.
Yeah. So that's funny. I was reading your bio on the website, your ice pirate dad thing, and I thought that was funny. Did you do it, or was someone else come up with it?
Justin, yeah, the singer,
Oh,
yeah,
Justin did.
yeah.
Okay,
He didn't being facetious.
definitely. Well, we gotta love some like cheeky, fun stuff. But you guys have always been kind of known for being like different to the point of even taking some shit for it, in your early career, right?
Yeah, it's true. Sometimes humor doesn't age too well, But it's a flavor. It's not the main ingredient in what we do. It's a flavor. We don't need it. It's just something we do just to release tension and to make it more enjoyable. And the proof's in the pudding because we're still here, And a lot of the bands that take themselves seriously, they implode, because it's just too much.
What do you think inspired you to just be like, you know what? No, we're gonna do our own thing. We're gonna do what no one else is doing. Kind of. I mean, I think I read a little bit of inspiration that came, from older music, obviously, and I want to say, was it, you had some Queen inspirations first, which is fun for who you have as a drummer now, I'm sure too.
Yeah, a journalist, said that we were the gay AC/DC. So we said that we were the straight Queen.
That's
But
great.
yeah, but really it's all about the juxtaposition. That's what 20 years has taught me, really, that to create magic in rock music, you need to have two opposites rubbing against each other.
Sure. Well, and then you have brothers that are working together, which I'm sure is like an interesting dynamic within your band.
It makes it interesting for sure. Creates the bond and creates a tension, but it's a tension that's relieved by humor, in a very kind of English kind of humor. So that's really why we ended up the way we are. Also, we're contrarians. Certainly, Justin is, and I am. And I think the way all of us approach music is we don't really care what's going on. And we've learned that doing the opposite of what you're told and doing the opposite of sensible is usually the right option.
I think you guys are a great example of like when music is not for you, you don't get it, and when it is for you, you just get it. And it seemed like that's kind of the type of fans that you guys have, or they just get it, and they don't kind of expect you guys to be anyone else but who you are.
It's true. It's true. There's definitely a nerdish element to what we do. I guess you could say we're kind of nerds kind of doing like normally nerds would be gravitate towards indie, being in an indie band. But we do, at least half of us have quite an indie sensibility, but we take that into a different genre, which is hard rock mainly.
Yeah. Well, and I think something too that can make or break a band is the band name, even. You guys started with a different name, though, right?
Well, we had a different band before with a different singer. Justin was on keyboards, Dan was on guitar, I was on bass, and that was called Empire. And that didn't really work out. And then Justin would kind of piss around in rehearsals and do that kind of high voice. And it took us a while to realize that that was really the gold dust. It was almost like it was hidden in plain sight, because he would always do it at the end of rehearsals. And that was the most enjoyable bit. And he was just pissing around doing that. And then we realized that that's what it was. That was the most entertaining thing.
Yeah. Well, I think he does get a lot of credit for like bringing a lot of personality, but as someone that shot you guys, I saw personality in each one of you, and I think you each have a different element that you add to the show. Is that something that you would agree with?
That's very kind of you. Thank you. Yeah, but I guess we're all different from each other, which is nice. There's different kinds of bands, aren't there? There's ones that are all caricatures and contrast with each other, and there's ones that are kind of uniform and dressed the same. And so we're definitely the contrast type band, the caricatures. Just usually the classic bands are like that. I think Queen were like that, and the Stones are obviously like that as well. But
Yeah.
I'm putting ourselves to them, of course. But
Oh, I think you have enough under your belt that you could look back and say there are probably people that would hold you in that regard. So I know it's a dangerous thing because you got to keep your head under the you got to be what's the word I'm looking for here, humble.
be humble. Yeah, now you've got this humble brag thing, haven't you, where people pretend to be humble and then they're actually bragging.
Mm-hmm.
It's quite an English thing, I think. I feel like it's more English than American. And then English people also do this thing called moting, which is Moating. It's when they kind of moan and then boast, and then they moan and boast, and they're on this constant kind of fairground ride of moaning and boasting. That's a very English thing.
Like trying to capture fans from both of those places when I guess I think about like bands that go to other countries and how that experience is different, how other countries perceive you. Do you feel like you have to like be different or do things different to kind of cater to that? Or
Well, I think that what America and the USA and the United Kingdom have in common is that they have a lot of the morality is based on a kind of Puritanism, which obviously we exported to you guys, and that's one of the founding principles, I think, and where the religious right comes from, if you don't mind me saying so, in your country. But that's why rock and roll happened in our two countries, because it was a rebellion against that Puritanism. It was the pill. The pill was really the catalyst, the female contraceptive pill. And that was also the catalyst for samba music in Brazil and salsa music in Cuba, Venezuela, and Puerto Rico. It actually came from the pill, from that release of from that sexual liberation. But in Britain and America, it was rock and roll.
yeah. So it pretty much just plays across the board that you don't feel like you have to cater to one or the other or do anything differently. They just get it.
Yeah, I think Americans and British people understand it, don't they? You see, but like for example, when you play Italy, we're also popular in Italy, but it's a different thing. There's a kind of innocence. I hope the Italians don't mind me saying this, but Italy's like that. It goes from innocent to corrupt very, very quickly, and that's because you can't you can only corrupt people if they're innocent. Uh, but Italians don't really have great rock and roll bands. I hope they don't mind me saying that. But they've got so many other great things going on, but they don't have it because, like I say, it was a rebellion against kind of Puritanism. I don't think that Puritanism existed in Italy. They've always been a lot more open when it comes to their sexuality and if you look at their art, there's nudes everywhere, and celebrations of sensuality. But the British and the Americans have tablecloths covering kind of legs on tables because even just the presence of a leg in the 19th century was kind of seen as rude, even if it was just a table leg. Anyway, that's my theory. It doesn't mean it's true.
That's okay. I like theories. um, Looking at the band's history and kind of, I know there was some time that the band took off in between for a few years. And then I know yours, I guess, was just a little bit longer than that. But what was it like when you guys all got back together? Was it the same? Was it different? Was it, did you guys all come back with like a new look on life, or how did that play
Yeah,
out?
it's the strangest feeling. It's so hard to describe. It was 5 or 6 years, away from each other, and even the brothers hardly talked in that time. So it's just incredible, really. It feels like you're in a parallel universe because you never thought it would happen. I never thought it would happen, and just to be with them again, it's a cliche, but I felt really just incredibly fortunate, to have that second chance. So that was good, but then I think looking back, we didn't necessarily do our best work following that. I thought with Last of Our Kind, we started to hit our groove again. There was something there. There was a power there. Came up with a couple of big songs there, Barbarian and Open Fire. And then we really started to find our groove. I think with Easter was cancelled. And then now with this one as well, I think it's a different thing. We're just doing exactly what we want with this one. We don't care that some people are like, oh, why are you doing this kind of country song? Why you got this song with an orchestra? I think we've earned the right to do what we like and kind of please ourselves.
Yeah. I think something I talk about with artists a lot is how fans can also sometimes be um, so judgy and like almost hindering in your progress of like going to try other things just because they can be so hard on you about it. But something that I think if a person really understands music and they really appreciate it, then they should appreciate an artist doing other things and trying other things, like there you should want to see an artist grow.
Completely agree with you. And what people always forget is that not all songs are ones you can get straight away. You don't always get them. Obviously, with something like I Believe in a Thing Called Love, you kind of get it straight away. But there's a lot of songs, a lot of albums are really appraised, not necessarily by us, by lots of other bands, forgotten classics. So that's the nature of music. It takes a long time, and books are even more so. With a book, it can take 50 years for people to really appreciate and put into context. But with movies and albums, I would say they're similar. It can be like a year or two later. And even with really great art house films, it can take a long time until people realize. You see that with the polls of the greatest films ever made. Citizen Kane obviously was celebrated for years, and then people started to get more into the Hitchcock ones and realized that some of those were the kind of forgotten classics. So,
Yeah, and I think art in general kind of plays out like that, which is a little sad sometimes because that's where the like term starving artist comes from, because they're just waiting for people to like realize the brilliance of what they're doing, or just to even want to share in it, I guess, really is, because most artists probably don't just sit and go, oh, this is brilliant, but they
yeah.
need someone else to tell them, or to kind of validate that, like, oh yes, that is good. Do you think that's like something that is really heavy within your band dynamic, is you guys kind of sharing that,
Well,
kind of how you make music together?
yeah, exactly, exactly. It's one of the frustrating things actually, this country, because it's small. It's really like a small island. Americans understand that because they live in a big country, but British people think that it's a big country and it's got big ideas, and it's not. It's small, and a lot of the time it's Little England, they call it, you know.
Sure.
And the mentality is a bit like that, and often they're less open to things, and because there's a small amount of kind of respected journalists. So if one or two of them says something, then they all just parrot the same line, the same party line. Whereas in America, I think it's much more people just trust their own ears, and that's what I respect about Americans. They don't care if nearly so much if something's fashionable. Britain is so obsessed with fashion, whereas Americans can listen to Robbie Williams and think, okay, but he's not like he's not a great artist, you know what I mean? Whereas British people think, oh, Robbie Williams is incredible, he's a the best artist in this country for the last 30 years. Americans can put it into context because they kind of get, what you need to be a great artist.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that's pretty cool. I think sometimes Americans get a lot of rap of being like, you know, narrow minded, or just, only seeing things through that like American lens. And I think that there's so much going on here that sometimes people choose
Yeah,
not to pay attention.
exactly. It's easy to do that. And the British, obviously, we all know that. It's the English, by the way. It's not the Scots. Don't think that the Scots and Irish have a really healthy attitude to Americans, but English people have this snooty thing. We all know that, and I don't mind saying that in England. It's the most frustrating thing about this country. They have like an overinflated sense of their importance.
Sure. I think there are some Americans that also suffer that mindset.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. There's a few. We don't have to.
Unfortunately, it's growing, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. So, is that something that kind of is unsettling for you, or like, like how?
No, no, not unsettling, because I know that Americans have big hearts and open hearts as well. I think that's the most important thing. A lot of people in the country I'm in, they have closed hearts. I think the most important thing is to have an open heart. And that's what's great about American culture. Almost too open sometimes, Hollywood and everything. But no, but that's great though. That's better, and I really respect that. And I don't think, I think it's just tough. It's the American system is tough. It's been found wanting, and there are a lot of problems with it. So I think you can see that what's happening is a protest against that. Really, it's more of a protest. And really, when you actually spend time with American people, generally they're good people. They might just put on that mask or that front because they're frustrated. That sounds patronising, but that's what I believe. And also, it's all exaggerated and by obviously Instagram and social media. Yeah, we all know that. Everything gets exaggerated, and especially with Gen Z, and they,
Yeah,
they get carried away because really they're becoming mentally ill with
there's an oversaturation of information at some point. Yeah, yeah.
a massive experiment. What's going on with our relationship with technology and social media and phones. And unfortunately, we only know a little bit of the damage, but it's really bad. So people just need to spend less time trapped in their echo chambers and the conspiracy theories and all that kind of stuff.
I love that you're saying this, because I'm actually in my last year of my psychology degree, and the class that I'm taking right now is technology. Like how it's technology in the sense of how it affects our lives, with our mental health. And for some
Yeah.
reason, the actual name of the class is, it's like technology and behavioral theories. And So
I'd love to have done that. I would love to have studied psychology, and I would love to have written a thesis like that. That's really interesting. That's great. Hey, I would like to read it. I would love to read your thing when it's finished. Yeah?
yeah, I would love to send that to you. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, please send it to me. I am genuinely really interested in that kind of thing, and I'm interested in that human mind a lot. And in a parallel universe, I'm probably some kind of budding psychiatrist.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thinking about that, I wanted to ask what advice you would give to a kid that wanted to grow up to do what you do.
Well, that's the thing. The one that would go on and do something big probably wouldn't really listen to me. Really, I like to think that in a way. Well, that's what rock and roll used to be like. They wouldn't listen. That's what it should be like, really. So I wouldn't really like to kind of say anything because really, it's you want to prove the previous generation wrong and or reinvent.
Yeah. I just really wanted to thank you so much for taking your time to talk to me and for giving us some insight into the background of the band. And I'm really excited to catch you guys at the Egyptian Room.
Hey, I really enjoyed talking to you, and thanks.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I look forward to seeing you guys September 16th.
See you.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.
Kiss you every